Good morning, XR family. It is so good to be back here in AWE. Look at us. I still remember the first AWE at 2010, and we were a small group of maybe 200 or 300 people, and look at us now, over 5,000 attendees here in Long Beach, and I'm in awe of all of you. I want to start out with a story. It's a story about a lamp. And this might look like an ordinary lamp, but I can assure you that this lamp had superpowers. This is a lamp that I would pack with me in my suitcase back in the early days when I would travel to different conferences like AWE and demo my early prototypes in the early 2000s. And I would pack this lamp and I would pray to the demo gods. And most of the time, it worked. And when it did, it was magic. And those early days of AR, they were highly experimental, they were glitchy, but they were beautiful. And we were just at the dawn of something new. We could feel that a new medium was beginning to take shape. And it's a time I like to call the duct tape era, partly in homage to Bruce Sterling and his fondness for duct tape, and also how Bruce would join us early on in those years and even give the opening address at the first AWE. But then something shifted. At around 2015 to 2017, we saw those seeds that we planted beginning to take root and germinate. We weren't quite mainstream, but the promise was there. In 2015, Snapchat announced lenses. In 2016, Pokemon Go launched, and these two examples were really critical to AR entering the public consciousness. And in a way that the public didn't even know they were using AR. It was just the experience. Then in 2016, we had the first major tech company launch a self-contained device, the Microsoft HoloLens, and that's me, and yes, home is Toronto. Where are my Canadians at? Yes! And then in 2017, we had Apple launch AR Kit, and suddenly AR was on millions of iPhones and iPads. And that same year, Google also launched AR Core, extending AR to the vast Android ecosystem. And so AR went from something that was glitchy and experimental and in the lab to now entering the public consciousness and being on the product roadmap of billion-dollar companies. But still, I have a sense of nostalgia for those early days and that IKEA lamp.
Many of you feel bad for this lamp. That is because you're crazy. It has no feelings, and the new one is much better.
And like the guy at the end says, the new one is much better. The new and improved AR is much better. We are stronger as an industry, and the questions now have shifted and evolved. But I still love that era, and there was a certain magic and wonderment that I hope we continue to maintain. And as my friend Avi Barzev says, once you lose the magic, make sure you go back to the start. And there was a lot of magic in that era. Now, maybe you haven't seen that Spike Jonze IKEA commercial, but I bet you have seen or heard of Spike Jonze's film, Her. And there couldn't be a more significant film to the time we find ourselves in, where we are moving from conversational AI to the promise of physical AI. And more, we are becoming augmented humans. The last time I was here at AWE in 2015, I announced my book, Augmented Human, and with great thanks to all of you, it has become an industry classic, and it's available in 5 languages worldwide. And so I thought, I'm back here at AWE, why break with tradition? So I thought I'd take this chance to launch and announce my new book, Reality Modding. Thank you. And so reality modding is a term I've coined that describes the convergence of frontier technologies like AI and AR and spatial computing and how they're all coming together to actively construct new realities. And so here we are again at the dawn of a new era of personal computing. But this time, there's no duct tape. This time, it's all becoming very real very quickly. And in fact, the future isn't apps. It's not even screens. It's reality itself. And that reality is worth $6.4 billion, which is the amount OpenAI paid for Johnny Ive's company, I.O., to create physical AI.
But so much of the way that we actually engage with people and do things happens in the real world, right? It happens in places that don't involve us necessarily just staring at a screen. And so I think a lot of the inspiration for the types of things that we feel like we can build will be the types of systems that are more ambient, right? They're more, and in some sense almost feel more personal. They detach you a little bit from having to always be looking at a screen. I think there's a place for a phone, and I think there's a place for apps and whatnot, but the way that we kind of look at the problem statement is very much an emphasis on personal computing and how we kind of build this ambient computing layer.
So we heard the word ambient a couple of times there, and that is the direction that we've been headed in and moving in for the past several years. And in 2013, I gave a talk here at AWE, and I share this metaphor of a clear kayak. And this is the idea that technology disappears and you just become present in the experience of your physical surroundings and what's happening at the time. And it enables us to feel more connected to the world around us. Now, whether it's clear kayak, ambient computing, cognizant computing, calm technology, there are many, many words for it, but the idea is the same. The idea is that the technology disappears, it becomes invisible. And I was thinking about that glass kayak again this week with WWDC and liquid glass. And Alan Dye, VP of Human Interface Design at Apple, said liquid glass was inspired by the physicality of Vision OS. Now, this, of course, makes a lot of sense when you're wearing a headset and you can see reality beyond those glass icons, but Apple is very good at incrementally priming us for the next big thing. So I wonder if we will see reality become the next big interface. Because some of the principles of reality modding are that reality is fluid, it's adaptive and customizable, and reality now becomes as editable as a piece of software. And personalization is central to this idea of reality modding because it places us at the center of all of these experiences where they are customizable and adaptable. And Apple also announced at WWDC the new Vision OS where we can decorate and even customize our spaces with widgets and with art. And once you re-enter that environment, they are persistent. They are still there. And so it's through these wearable devices that we can mod our reality. And this includes, of course, AR glasses, but also things like haptics and even neural interfaces. So reality becomes something that we live and embody through reality modding. And we're going to look really good doing it. As we heard from Google and Justin, we're going to see really fashionable AR frames and wearables in the very, very near future, with collaborations between Google and Gentle Monster, Warby Parker, and even Kering. So think Gucci. And so this is all going to be super, super fashionable. And in many ways, it already is. We're seeing Meta, who's partnered with Luxottica on this very brilliant long-term partnership with sold-out collaborations with luxury brands like Ferrari, Coperni. Coperni was on the Paris fashion runway. I've got a pair. And so these are cultural moments. This is no longer nerdy tech in the lab. These are cultural, fashionable moments. And luxury is a prime category ripe for reality modding. I work with and advise luxury brands on how they can best apply emerging and immersive technologies. And this is some of my work. Louis Vuitton had invited me to reimagine their iconic trunk in celebration of their founder's 200th birthday. And so I created this AR trunk that was pulsing with life and was both a nod to history and the future. And the artwork appeared in all 500 store windows worldwide, and it was part of a traveling exhibition launched in Paris, went to Singapore, LA, and New York. And we know that luxury is more than products. Luxury is about dreams and aspirational experiences and emotions. And AR was a gateway to immerse Louis Vuitton customers in the world of that brand. And the number one reason a luxury consumer follows a brand is to live in the universe they've created. And brands like Gucci have been very successful at tapping into spatial computing and creating new storytelling experiences that invite the user into that brand's story world. But these brand worlds could soon be generated with AI. Now, some of you may have read the 340-page report, the Bond report that Mary Meeker released. And one of the predictions that caught my eye is that the top 10 things AI will likely do in 10 years includes building immersive worlds. And I'm sure you agree, I think this is going to be a lot sooner than 10 years. We're already seeing the building blocks of this, and this will come to apply to luxury brands, to marketing, to education, to training, to entertainment, you name it. And we're already seeing companies like World Labs, Odyssey, and even spatial AI. Let's have a look at what spatial AI, who just came out of Stealth, is working on. Now, Spatial AI is a London-based startup. They did just come out of Stealth, and they raised a $13 million seed round. And so their technology is designed to generate AI immersive worlds from both text prompts and images. Another company working on this is Odyssey. Now, Odyssey really fascinates me because their approach is slightly different, where they have cameras strapped to human bodies capturing these images. And so this is really fascinating to me. And the founders have a background in self-driving vehicles. And so the aesthetic that has resulted from that human kind of machine is something that is quite ethereal and dreamlike. And you can try this yourself. You can go to the Odyssey website and check it out as well. And both of these examples remind me of a film from 2012 that you might remember called World Builder by Bruce Banner. So that was 2012. Some of you may remember that film, and the premise was this man uses holographic tools to build a world for the woman he loves. But I can't help but thinking, as we are entering this era of AI and XR overlapping, and something I like to think of as kind of the me era with AI, where we do have all of these personalized environments and experiences that are being built for us. How do we make sure that we don't further isolate and that we're not each in our own independent reality-modded bubbles, but we are still connected to one another? And it makes me think of the great work that Snap is doing with spectacles and connected lenses and AI experiences like Imagine Together. And in September, here in Los Angeles at Snap Partner Summit, there was a really beautiful AI and XR experience designed by Ez Devlin. Now, if that name sounds familiar, Ez is a world-class designer. She's worked with The Weeknd, Beyonce, U2, you name it. And so she created this wonderful experience where a small group of us, maybe there were about 12 of us, we all wore the spectacles, and we were able to engage with nature, interact with the cosmos, and at the end of the experience, we were invited to set an intention for how we would take care of the Earth. And as we went around the room and said that intention, our words wrapped around the Earth. And they wrapped around each person's words. And so we were all connected in this shared AI and XR experience. So I really see beautiful glimpses and hints, I'm an optimist, of ways that AI and XR can continue to connect us. Now, as reality is becoming pliable, we're also becoming the director of these new immersive scenes. And 4DV AI is building software that enables users to capture, edit, and interact with 4D video, so merging the boundaries between cinema and interactive gaming. And so this allows viewers to control the camera and the perspective within a scene, making them active participants. And I also can't help but thinking of Shram Izzadi's work. Shram is now at Google, at head of Android XR, and when he was at Microsoft Research, he did this really wonderful demo that some of you may remember called holoportation. And you were able to capture spatially a scene and memories and relive those from different perspectives and at different scale. And this also brought back memories of David Hockney's work from the 80s and his really wonderful artwork around photo joiners. And David Hockney is an original reality modder, and he was an inspiration to me in those kind of early duct tape eras. And he was inspired by Cubism and created these 2D scenes that allowed for multiple perspectives. And my work is on the right. Now, David Hockney, his work was all 2D photographs. Back then, in 2009, I was really interested in cinematic AR, so my examples are all video. So these are markers that have been strung together and use these kind of cinematic clips to create these multi-perspective scenes. And this work was presented at IEEE ISMAR back in 2009. So if you want to go back into the archives, there's a paper on it. And if you don't already know Hugues Bruyère, his tag and his handle is Smallfly, I really encourage you to check out his work. He's using mixed reality and AI to reskin reality. So he takes that joiners concept to a whole other level, and in many ways also has that kind of beauty of that duct tape era. So really amazing work. Make sure to give him a follow. He's Smallfly on Instagram. And so AR and AI will become invisible layers of our daily lives. And gone are the days of us calling ourselves augmented reality designers, and augmented reality developers. We are now reality designers and reality developers, and I'm really excited to see what you will build next. I wanted to come back full circle to some of the people whose work over the decades have brought us to this exciting moment, and it's all really happening now. This is the present, as Ori says, and these legends have inspired me so much, and I've been able to stand on these giants' shoulders and even lucky enough to call them friends. And I wanted to particularly shout out and thank Dr. Caitlin Fisher. Caitlin was my PhD supervisor, and back in 2005, she had the foresight to start an augmented reality lab in New York University in Toronto focused on storytelling. And we were in the lab, and we were in the Department of Film and Faculty of Fine Arts, which was unheard of at that time. And Caitlin was also the only other woman I knew in AR in 2005, so it truly was a see it, be it moment. So I'm forever grateful to Caitlin, and I hope as we look to this next horizon that we look beyond technology and we really consider the impact that our design choices will have on humanity and culture. So thank you so much to all of you. It's been wonderful to be back here. Thank you.